Hello and welcome to Shop Franklin, supporting small business, where we work to raise awareness of and build community around Franklin's local, independently owned businesses. I'm Sarah Mabardi, and today I've invited Devin Gray of Optimized Fitness and Performance. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Are you
here.
ready?
I'm totally ready.
You sure?
A little bit.
All right. Same here. So Devin owns Optimized Fitness and Performance in Franklin, up in Forge Park area. So if you're going towards the Y,
Yep.
you keep going up there, and there is basically what looks like a garage.
It's a huge warehouse. It's on Forge Hill Road. If you try to go to Forge Park, you'll get horribly lost. So if you go down Grove Street, turn right at the Senior Living Center, head up the hill, you see a sign for Still Out Construction. He's a builder here in town. And there's actually 3 fitness businesses up there, and I'm the first one on the left.
Okay, and you wouldn't even know it. If you're driving by, you wouldn't think that there's this great gym right there. And
Nobody
I've
knows.
been there. And on nice cool days, you can open the garage door, get a nice cross breeze going.
Yep, doors open today.
So awesome. It is nice out today.
It's very nice.
So tell me about, how did you start Optimized Fitness and Performance? What brought you to this place?
So I worked in a local gym in the area for about a year, a few training studios in the area for a few years. And the specialty that I developed working with clients is working with people with injuries. And the more gyms I worked in, I found that I couldn't do that effectively working for somebody else. The methods I wanted to use, the level of detail I wanted to use, how I wanted to set up my sessions. So I found that I would work better in my own business that way, and building a niche of helping people with injuries learn how to get stronger after finishing medical treatment, after finishing chiropractic care, physical therapy.
So it's a really specific niche of clients that you specialize in serving. So having been in that environment with the general population, this is where you found what you were most interested in. Now, why did that become your interest? As opposed to general, weight training, CrossFit. Everyone's doing CrossFit. I don't do CrossFit. I think I would die. Yeah, I would die if I tried CrossFit.
So
how did you get into that specialized section of saying, no, there's a subset of people who need this focus?
So CrossFit can be great for the right person. They do a lot of really great things, and my gym looks like a CrossFit gym in many, many ways. There's no machines, there's not a whole lot of equipment, but the basics, barbells, kettlebells, squat racks, really just a lot of metal up on the walls.
This is a kettlebell.
This is my kettlebells. And my gym's full of these. So it looks a lot like a CrossFit gym to someone that doesn't really know the difference. But me personally, how I got into injury post-rehab is I would explode if I did CrossFit. My shoulder would blow out, my hip, my back. I'm somebody who is double jointed in a lot of my joints. I can bend my elbow pretty far back, some things like that.
Now we're all doing this at home right
Yeah,
now.
everyone's trying to see how far can I go? Is that normal? But I was a cadet in college, in military college, and I was in great shape. I was in CrossFit level shape, but I blew out my hamstring running. I injured my shoulder. They've done studies with police officers and firefighters, and the people with the most injuries are the people that are the least fit and the most fit.
Really?
The people that were average, middle of the pack, had the most longevity working out among the police and the firefighters. So CrossFit's great, not for everybody, not for me, but I do a lot of the same things. And so I have a torn labrum in my right hip. It's a tear in the cartilage, so I can't squat as low as I'd want to.
Say that again. You had a torn what?
Torn labrum.
A torn labrum.
It's like think about a golf ball on the golf tee.
Okay.
It kind of keeps it on like a suction cup.
Okay.
So mine on my hip's kind of torn.
So you kind of know what you're talking about with the anatomy.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit of anatomy knowledge. But for someone like me, I can't go into a CrossFit class and work out without being in a lot of pain for a few days afterwards. And so a lot of my clients that have the same goals as anybody that wants to lose fat. They want to look better, they want to feel better, have more energy. They just can't figure out how to fit into all the other gyms and trainers out there. It's your classic square peg in a round hole situation.
Well, and I can definitely relate to that as someone who, I'm thin, I'm tall, I'm lanky, but I'm not fit. And it's really intimidating for me to go into a gym and they say, oh, well, you get a free session with a personal trainer. Well, I'll go to the gym. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'll have a session with a personal trainer and still have no idea what I'm doing. But go into movements that are far more advanced than I'm ready for.
Yes.
So the perception is, oh, she's thin, she's fit, she can do this. And the reality is I have no idea. And my flexibility is pretty limited. I have shoulder issues. I have neck issues. And so I you know this. I actually came. Devin had a special. It was a certain amount for a month of fitness or 2 months of fitness. And so I said, why don't I try this? It was reasonably priced. It was a great introduction. And what I found is you did exactly that. You met me where I could go, which where I thought I could go was like down here, but you showed me how strong I could be. And it was actually really neat to see. But it was all within what I was capable of, me specifically, which was really neat. So thank you. So
Thank you.
he's reaching his goal, at least with me. I found it was very successful. So where do you start with a client?
So the first thing is really talking to somebody and discovering what do you want? What do you want to do? That's really the first question. It's not about what I want as a coach. You mentioned that you don't really enjoy working out before. So a workout that I would like to do, you probably wouldn't enjoy. So it's got to be a workout that you want to do, you're willing to do, that pushes you towards your goals. So the first thing I do is I sit down with everybody for about 30 minutes, and we talk about what do you do for work? What kind of foods do you like? What's your schedule like? How much time do you have? If I write you a fitness program, are you going to have time during the week, during your life to be able to do that? I know that you're a busy mom, so I can't write you workouts for your house that are going to be these hour-long workouts. So I really need to learn a lot about my clients first. And then we go, and once we've done that, it's time to see what you can do. And not like an old gym class, presidential fitness award, let's go run a mile and see how fast you are, see how many push-ups you can do. Everyone does what's called a functional movement screen, which is basically just a test for athleticism. Are you likely to get injured? Can you touch your toes? Can you stand on one leg? What we call basic human movements. Can you perform on a very, very basic level as an athlete? Things that everybody in the world should be able to do from birth through death. And so we look at that. And if you can't do those things, we start from there. And then we
I don't think I
build
can
you
touch
from
my
the ground
toes.
up. Really?
I don't think so.
I think you can touch your toes.
We'll try it after.
I can probably get you to touch your toes during this segment.
All right, so that's a challenge. So should I get up and see if I can touch my toes?
See if you can touch your toes.
I don't know if you guys will be able to see the whole thing. And I'm not in. And I have heels on, so this might be. Okay, so I'm not touching them yet.
Yep.
Can I bend my knees?
A little bit. But that's an interesting trick, is that you actually have heels on, which makes it easier. So you stand back
And
up.
I still can't do it.
And then just try to touch your toes like 10 times.
All right.
And just breathe out when you do it. And then just come back up and go right back down. And you shoot a little further each time. So with the heels up, it's actually easier to touch your toes if you're somebody that can't.
All right, I'm giving up. I still can't touch this.
Could've
By the
had-
end of the session, when we're on the mats.
2x4. Just gotta
Alright.
push your butt out a little bit.
I have to push my butt out a little
That's
bit.
the
I'll
secret to
work on
touching
that.
your toes.
All right. So by the end of the session, I'm going to touch my toes, I promise. All right. So basic human function that I can't do. Moving
Yep.
on. So the initial assessment.
Yep.
And then tell us a little bit about the equipment that you actually have in your space. Because you walk in, and when I first walked into your space, it's like, wow, pretty sparse in here. There's some stuff on the sides, a lot of kettlebells. But after going for a few weeks, we never ran out of things to do.
No.
There was never a different body part that we weren't working, that a tool didn't come into play. So I know one thing that you do are kettlebell classes, and that's a great introduction for a lot of people. I think it's important to point out that you do semi-private
I do.
as opposed to private, which I'm sure is an option, but you do a lot of semi-private classes. And tell me why you chose to do semi-private versus private.
There are a lot of reasons why I prefer semi-private personal training. One comes down to price for the customer. A lot of personal trainers are going to charge you anywhere from $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100 an hour, even if it's someone that has an entry-level basic certification with no experience. A brand new personal trainer in most gyms for 1 hour will be $80. That's absurd, I think. I think that's absolutely absurd, especially when you're not sure what that person's education is. Trainers aren't licensed by the state, by the government. We are completely unregulated, so it's actually up to the customer.
Self-trained and unregulated. That's
Could be.
a dangerous combo.
Anybody can call themselves a personal trainer. Now, if you're not a very good personal trainer, you won't be a personal trainer for very long. But I think it's overpriced in a lot of cases. I also don't think it's very effective, because you think about a high school football team that's winning state championships and how many kids are on that football team to how many coaches they have. They don't need one coach for every single one of those players. You look at coaching Olympic athletes and coaching professional sports in the weight room, and they've got multiple athletes to one coach, sometimes as many as 20 athletes to one coach. Now with younger kids, that might go down to one coach to 10 kids. But it's almost unheard of in sports to have one-on-one instruction for everything, especially a lot of human movements. Once you learn how to squat, how to deadlift, how to do a push-up, you know how to do that. Maybe you need a spotter, someone to make sure you have everything safe and that you're doing the technique correctly, but you don't need someone's absolute attention for that entire time.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward.
It's awkward
because you're doing 3 reps of 10 squats, and you're sitting there squatting and trying to make conversation with the trainer. One-on-one.
The trainer becomes more of an entertainer, which is what you see on TV. They're loud and they're aggressive and they're screaming. It's all this big show, and a lot of trainers think that that's what they have to do, and it makes a lot of people intimidated of personal trainers. When you think about a good coach, the coach is there to help you succeed and help take you along that way. So coaching is more of, here's what you need to do, here's how you're going to do it, I'm going to make sure you have it down, but you also need the freedom to be able to play within that box a little bit. And you think about little kids, you don't want to have a helicopter over them the entire day. They need to get out and get dirty and explore.
Point.
So you need to be able to let your clients do some push-ups and let them kind of play with their hand position a little bit and space it out and see what feels best for them.
And so Semi-Private allows you to show one of your clients how to do something and then give them the freedom, the space to do that while you tend to someone else. So even if they're not doing the same movements, it's almost like a private session, but you're not watching them do their 30 squats. You're setting someone else for their next rotation.
I'm watching. The gym's set up so I can see the gym's set up and it's laid out in such a way where I can stand on one end and watch everybody at the same time.
Okay.
And so if something looks unsafe, if something doesn't look quite right, I can run right over and fix it right away. So my eyes on everybody at all times.
Okay.
But people are allowed to focus on their own workout. And I've had clients from private training who've come over to me with Semi-Private, and their workouts are faster, they're more effective, they're getting better results, and they're having more fun, they're meeting more people.
Good. I think that's huge, meeting more people too. Is, I keep saying in all of these sessions that shopFranklin's about community, creating that community, getting dialogue going with our neighbors and a sense of responsibility. So I love that component of meeting other people who may be in the same situation as you, trying to get better from an injury or introducing themselves to fitness or trying something new. Kettlebells, they've probably been around for a really long time.
Very long time.
But I feel like with the CrossFit movement and a lot of these newer, very hyper-focused exercise strategies, they're getting a limelight.
They are. Most kettlebell exercises you'll see on TV are performed incorrectly. You see kettlebells being sold on TV and they're going to sell you a 5, a 10, and a 12-pound kettlebell for $60. Well, almost any female can be with an 18 or 26-pound kettlebell from day one. And most men can start off with 26 to 35 pounds.
Okay.
So right away, there's some differences. And there's some differences in the school of thought. Like in CrossFit, they swing all their kettlebells up overhead. But I don't think that's great for your shoulder anatomy overall, based on what I've learned about shoulder anatomy in college studying exercise science. So the Russians have been doing it for hundreds of years in their military, just in their culture. And they have a very different swing than what you'll see in CrossFit or on TV or just around here in general.
And so you have an understanding of kind of what you think is an appropriate way to use the kettlebells given your training. So you had mentioned you have a degree in exercise science.
I do.
So you kind of studied what you're talking about.
Yep, I have a slide on that I can pull up.
So they actually go back. So there's the gym.
So there's the gym.
So when you go, so you can't see it in this picture, but that is a front to back space, and it's very open with a lot of the equipment on the sides. So the structures and the kettlebells, and the straps and the walls, and it does allow you that eye line straight through.
Yes.
So it's nice.
Yep, I love to have a lot of open space when I work out. I don't like gyms that are very cramped. You need to have room to move around. So this is my background.
Okay.
So I studied at Texas A&M. I graduated in 4 years with honors with a degree in exercise science and motor behavior, basically just how the brain handles movement and the psychology of movement. I'm a certified strength conditioning specialist with the National Strength and Conditioning Association, which is basically just the top certification in my industry. You have to have a degree to get it. You have to have it if you want to work with any professional athletes, either in the NFL, in the NCAA with college athletes, and the MLB.
Okay.
I'm functional movement screen certified, which is that screen test, can you touch your toes? That test there.
I will. By the end, I swear I will touch
out.
my toes.
I can figure that out. And the FMS tells me why somebody can't touch their toes. I have a lot of golfers who come in who want to swing a better golf swing.
Oh.
But if you can't touch your toes, you're never going to be able to.
Really?
Yep. And sometimes it's not just about stretching. Sometimes it's about you have a weakness in your butt sometimes. You have a weakness in your abs that you need to work on. So that lets me, I do that assessment, and you talked about, you do that 1 hour free training session.
Yeah.
And it's really more either the trainer's teaching you the gym, or they're trying to sell you personal training, or they have a prepackaged workout everybody does.
Yeah.
And they don't really assess you. And the FMS is the best way to assess somebody on a day one. So that's why I use that with everybody that comes in.
And I did that when I came in. And I actually like that you said there's a lot of golfers. So when you think of golfers, you don't really think of these hardcore athletes until maybe Tiger Woods came along and now did John Daly as the pinnacle of health in golf. Not that John Daly ever was the pinnacle of health in golf, if anyone remembers who John Daly was. He was a rather large golfer who was your atypical athlete.
Not what I expected.
I'm showing my age. But for golf, great Father's Day gift, great birthday gift for that golfer who wants to up his game and identify some of those areas. So just thinking outside the box there.
Yeah.
So the functional movement screen, and then nutrition. Nutrition is
coaching.
Huge. So
Nutrition's the biggest thing.
I think that I don't know a lot of trainers will say this. You might fuss up, but nutrition is huge. You can work out all you want, but if you're eating McDonald's every single day, it's not really going to do you much good.
Yeah.
So I worked with a personal trainer in my 2 years when I was in North Carolina, and I ate Bojangles twice a day. If you don't know what Bojangles was, or is, it's deliciousness.
Yeah.
Right up with Chick-fil-A. Okay, you know what Bojangles is.
I know of similar chains. We had Cane's and Lane's fried chicken. Two different chains, but competing. There is a Cane's chicken next to BU in Boston, though. It's the only one in the Northeast.
Really?
Yeah.
So
I know exactly
Bojangles
where it is.
was, I was working long hours eating Bojangles and working with a personal trainer. So it was the biggest waste of money in the world.
Well, not exactly. It was a waste of money if you wanted to look better. If you wanted to lose body fat, it'd be a waste of money. If you wanted to feel better and move better and be stronger and have more energy, it's not a waste of money.
There was nothing that was countering Bojangles twice a day back then.
No. No.
So nutrition is a huge part of it. So tell me about nutrition level 1. So what does that coaching include? Or
so Precision Nutrition is a large online coaching company that's founded by PhD John Berardi. And I won't talk too much about that company because I don't want to misspeak. But if you go to precisionnutrition.com and you go to their blog, they have some of the best articles I've ever read.
Really?
And some great infographics on how to eat healthy. And the reason I did there's so many nutrition education options out there for fitness professionals. And the reason I did theirs is that they focus on a habit-based approach based on the tens of thousands of people that they've worked with, but also really based on the education, the research that they've done. And what they found is that you see a lot of programs out there and someone's going to change their entire diet and their entire life in 30 days.
Yeah.
And they tend to yo-yo. They go up and down, and they never really resolve those underlying habits that are causing them to stay unhealthy. Or really, if they're healthy, not where they want to be.
Yep.
And this approach is more of, here's all the cutting-edge science, here's all the great tools you're going to need, but here's really how to work with people and how to tell people, that's all great, but what I really need you to do, let's pick one thing today you can do
long term
all the time for the rest of your life, and you're not going to fail at it. And sometimes it's as simple as, I want you to eat slower.
Really?
And I have a slide on 5 tips people can do for this, and I'll go right to.
But that's great that not only are you focusing on the exercise component, but also the nutritional component.
Yes.
So if you haven't given up soda, give up soda now. That's a pretty easy one, right?
That's an easy one for some people.
Soda.
But what's nice about that is that I'm also not telling people what to do. Because if I come in and I tell all my clients what to do, they're going to tell me to go away. They're not going to do it. And so many trainers, their biggest complaint behind the scenes is, they get great results if they just did what I told them. But no one's going to do what you tell them to do. So it's much more of my first question is, well, what do you think you should do?
That's a great point.
And usually they get excited and they have pretty good ideas. And I had a woman a few weeks ago who was fairly unhealthy, had a lot of weight to lose. And we talked and said, well, what do you want to do? And she perks up right away. And she goes, I'm going to drink less soda. And she was drinking like 2 liters of Sierra Mist a day.
Wow.
So that's a big deal. And she switched to water. And that was huge. And that's all we had to work on.
But it was great because it was her idea.
It's her idea.
So that's a really great point,
She was
is
really
people
happy.
finding their own path.
Yeah. I don't want to be like the fitness dictator. I have enough going on. I can just tell people and help people make better decisions that they want to make. And if they don't know how to make those choices, I can teach them how to do it in a better, safer, more long-term way.
That's great.
So that's, keep it simple. Focus on improving just one thing at a time. Another great habit is sit down at a table with friends and family, eat slowly until you're comfortable, and really just enjoy your meals. I went to military college, and the freshmen at Texas A&M and the Corps Cadets have to eat as fast as possible and as few bites as possible. And I can clear a plate in about a minute.
Wow.
So I've had to work on slowing that down. And if you're someone that's overweight, that might be one of your biggest problems, is you eat really great foods. Maybe you eat all organic, and you're eating lots of great healthy foods that aren't processed, that are chemical-free, all these great things. But you're eating them way too fast, and you're eating way too many of them. And we talk about taking a cup and measuring out your portion sizes and da-da-da-da-da. Or I can say, hey, just sit down with your family, eat slower, and, chew your food, taste your food. What's the texture? Do you like it? What's it smell like? Pretend it's a gourmet meal kind of a thing that you're actually really enjoying. And studies have shown that you'll lose weight.
So it's mindful eating.
Mindful eating, that's exactly what that is. And it works well for a lot of people. And a lot of people that are struggling to see results that eat healthy have that problem.
Interesting.
Including myself. I'm working on it. So we talk about eating protein, vegetables, and healthy fats. We talk about choosing foods that come in bags instead of boxes.
What are bags instead of boxes?
So think about the idea of if you go to the grocery store and you talk about shopping the edges where most of the healthy food is. Most of the food on the edges, your produce, your apples, your lettuce, your broccoli, you put them in bags. They don't come in boxes ready to go.
Oh, okay.
Whereas you think about your cookies, your chips, your crackers, your cakes, they come in boxes ready to go. So most healthy food can come in a bag. And so if you just think bags, not boxes, it makes it simple to figure out these foods are a little more healthy, these foods might be a little less healthy. So that's an easy one for people to work on. And even if it's just making one swap at a time. 52 weeks in a year, if you can make 26 changes, you've made a huge change.
Nice.
And then this one catches up a lot of people.
Yep.
And there's a lot of guilt that comes in with the carbs for a lot of people, and it becomes very black and white and all or none. And you start looking at it, and it's not that there's really anything bad about starchy foods and carbs.
Yep.
It's just that based on your body, maybe it's your blood chemistry, maybe it's your hormones, you can't have them all day long. So maybe you can, and this basically says eat veggies throughout the day, broccoli, carrots, cucumbers, whatever you want. A lot of fiber in those vegetables, lots of vitamins, lots of minerals, but don't have as many potatoes through the day. And if you're going to have them within 1 to 2 hours after you work out. If it's a tough workout, like strength training, sprinting, tough cardio, if you're trying to lose fat. If you're trying to gain weight, eat them throughout the day.
And I think that our generations have grown up in a culture where carbs have gotten a bad name.
Everything's gotten a bad name.
We're going through the paleo. We've gone through, I think, the Southwest or the South Beach diet predates you.
Yep.
Oh, were you around for that? Okay.
I know
and then
all
even
of them.
before that, in the early 90s, we had OptiFast, which Oprah did. And actually, it was a pure liquid diet,
That's
or
a terrible
Nutrisystem. Yeah, so my father actually did OptiFast,
Yep.
and it wasn't successful. But
Yeah.
Oprah did it. It clearly wasn't successful.
Yeah.
And so we live in this culture where we're obsessed with what we shouldn't be eating,
Yeah.
and we're not wrapping our mind around
That's a really good point.
what we should be eating. So it's not about demonizing a food, but embracing the quality and the quantity and enjoying that food
And if you
and
look
not
at that
making it a
list-
fight.
If you look at that list, I don't put the words don't anywhere in there.
I know, it's enjoy veggies.
It's all action-based. You're moving towards something positive. You're not moving away from something that might be negative. A lot of people, the first habit for one person working right now is getting her to, she wants to eat pasta with her husband. And she's a runner, and she feels guilty when she eats pasta because she thinks it's a bad food. And is it like a white bread kind of pasta? All right, it's kind of a junk food. We don't really need to eat that. If it's like a good whole grain pasta, there's nothing unhealthy about that. Just have it at the right time of the day.
Yeah.
And it's a simple change in thinking, especially since all of our nutrition information changes every 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Eggs are good, eggs are bad. Butter's good, butter's bad.
Full fat milk, low fat milk,
Yep.
low fat everything, low sugar, and
the
then we
science
find
contradicts.
and then science comes in, chemical science comes in, and yes, it's low sugar, but they've compromised the integrity of the food with other products that add flavor that aren't necessarily nutritionally they don't benefit your body. So I could go on and on about food.
Yeah.
So
We could get off topic
but
there.
no, I think we could talk about this for a while. So food is my one thing. I've moved on from my Bojangles days, and I truly embrace a holistic, healthy eating, full spectrum of foods. And it's good to know that there's a trainer out there who understands that.
Yeah.
And in a realistic way.
Yeah, trainers are real people too, if you think about it that way. A lot of my clients used to love when I talk about, I went out for drinks and a burger with a friend of mine. And they're like, oh, you're not just some freak of nature that never has good food. It's like, no, we just know when to have it and when not to have it, and we slip up, and then we just kind of brush it off our shoulders and keep going. So learning that's a big step. We're not all screaming and, are there trainers out there that, you had pizza and they're going to berate you to make you do burpees? There are.
Yeah, no thank you.
I don't think that that's healthy or effective. I think it creates a long-term view of exercise as punishment, and I'm not a fan of that.
Well, let's have some fun with exercise. And why don't we transition and see what you brought to torture me with? I mean, not torture me with, to show me
but I didn't,
today. So we're going to do some demonstrations. We're going to look at the kettlebells.
Yep.
And then some of the different tools that you use in your studio.
We're going to do that.
All right, let's go. All right, so here we are on the mats. And apparently I still need to learn how to touch my toes. So let's get this over with so we can focus on kettlebells.
Okay.
All right.
First thing you're going to do is take off your shoes.
All right. Damn, that was my advantage. All right. There, see?
It's all the shoes. All right.
The shoes were throwing me off. And you know
Lesson learned.
I stuck my butt out more, which is what you said I needed.
That's the big thing for a lot of people. You see a lot of people touch their toes.
Relax the knees.
And they go like this and they don't move at all here. A lot of people, they just push their butt out.
And
they can touch.
All right.
So before attempting any kind of kettlebell exercise, you need to be able to touch your toes. If you can't touch your toes, get a functional movement screen. I do them. Physical therapists do them in town. Do not attempt kettlebells if you cannot touch your toes. A very important lesson to learn.
All right, I can touch my toes, so we can get
touch
started.
Your toes. Yep.
All right, so kettlebells. Tell me, they come in different weights.
They come in different weights and they come in different styles.
Okay.
And there's that.
All right.
One of my favorite things to do is, you can hold that one, is to bring this to some of the health fairs like the October Stroll, Strawberry Stroll, things like that. These are the same weight, even though this one is maybe 3 times the size of this one. They're both 18 pounds or 8 kilograms. This one's cast iron, this one's steel. What I like about this one for beginners is it's taller. So somebody who's not that flexible is not going to be able to get down on the ground and grab this where it's being this low. This one most people can grab, and I can get a kettlebell from 18 pounds or even 10 pounds to 100 pounds in that exact same size and shape.
Okay, so consistency across workout.
Yes. So that way when you learn different techniques, when you change weight, it doesn't change the feel. Cast iron kettlebells are great, a little bit cheaper, but the handle gets thicker. So for some of my women that are shorter with smaller hands, they're limited not so much by their strength, but by just the size of their hands.
Good to know.
So some things about that. The reasons that you would do kettlebell swings or any kind of kettlebell exercise is that they combine strength training with your cardio. I don't really enjoy running, 1, because I have that hip tear, and 2, because I ran all day as a cadet and I hate it. So a lot of people think they're going to lose weight by jumping on a treadmill like a human hamster, and you don't have to do it that way. Kettlebells are my preferred version of cardio for myself, for a lot of my clients. They can burn up to 20 calories per minute with the right exercise, which in that study was on par with running a 6-minute mile, which most of us are never going to do. It's also non-impact, which is nice. So you get in great shape. It feels like sprinting at the right weights, but it also makes you stronger. It makes you stronger in your butt, in your hamstrings, in your lower back, in your shoulders. So for a lot of people with neck pain, back pain, hip pain, knee pain, people have actually, they've done studies where people's pain has been reduced just from kettlebells. Wow. So basically, you see a lot of guys that look like this in the gym. And they only do bench press and they only do push-ups. Kettlebells work the entire backside of your body. They work the entire backside of your body, which is nice because it balances out your posture and it balances out your strength and it protects your back. So in a nutshell, they make you stronger, they make you look better, they make you feel better because you have more energy, and they definitely get you into great shape. So the main kettlebell exercise is the kettlebell swing. So I'll take my shoes off for this, and I'm going to show these from the side. So I'm actually going to have Sarah move.
I'll move back.
Yeah, that way I have a clear path here.
I'm going to let him demonstrate the exercises unless we demonstrate the improper form of kettlebells.
Which we're not going to do because that might be dangerous.
Good, I don't have to exercise. So it's all on Devin.
Maybe we'll do some planks. We can talk about some good core exercises that won't hurt your back.
All right.
But a kettlebell swing, I'm going to stand, I'll put the mat next to it just so I don't damage the floor. But I'm going to stand about arm length away, and I'm going to sit in a position we call the shortstop position, like this, where my shins are almost vertical, slightly bent, my back is flat, butt's out, and I'm on my knees like this. Because from here, I can tip the kettlebell on its back edge and take it through my hips like that. And actually, when I teach a kettlebell course, the first thing I do on the first and second day is we just learn how to do that. And you're gonna be sore for a few days because most people have never used their hamstrings to hold themselves up. Once you're good at that, once you know how to hike, you bring it through your hips and you bring it up. And keep your head up the whole time. You don't look to the side, but there's a camera right there. But showing from the side, what you'll see is at the top, I can actually let go a little bit. And the reason is my arms don't do any of the work.
Really?
Now, this is a swing I don't like to see. Because see how my shoulders bunch up? And I start using more of my lower back. This is all legs, but also core.
Well, one thing I was going to notice is your back is straight the entire time.
The entire time. Does not move. One of the fastest ways to hurt your back is to move your spine with weight.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about kettlebells and back pain is every time you come up, you actually tighten your abs and you squeeze your butt. But your core isn't just these muscles here. It's everything from your butt to your armpits. So because of that, you're working your abs on every single swing.
Okay. Yeah, and that's something I definitely observed, which you really, when you're doing it on your own, it's hard to see that. But when you're in that semi-private training session, someone can stand there and say, all right, you need to engage your core abs a bit more to keep your back straight, I assume. So that's what that value is.
So we spend a lot of time learning that position without any weight.
And you've worked with people who are starting out with kettlebells. You've done the group sessions, some at 6 o'clock in the morning, which I don't go to. 5 in the morning, which I definitely don't go to. But it's a great introductory course. They seem really intimidating, and it's all age groups too.
Most of the people are actually
very
in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I'll take a 50-year-old, 60-year-old woman in 6 weeks from a no kettlebell swing to 35-pound kettlebell swing, 100. And the goal is to do 100 swings in 5 minutes, which is fast. That's very fast. That's 10 swings every 30 seconds. That's an incredible workout that's fast. You can do at home, and it's going to make you strong over your entire body.
And you don't have to do it 5 o'clock in the morning. You can do it at later times.
5:15, 7:30 in the morning, 9:15 in the morning.
Get a group of your friends together and do it together and
friends.
schedule a time for a semi-private with friends. Drop the kids off at school and go. Start this fall and do that.
Start now.
Start now. I'm in summer mode.
Yeah. But you can do more with them. What's nice is a lot of people will spend $1,000 on a treadmill that they never use. I picked that up completely wrong. So you should pick it up like that. But you can also use it for a squat. If I hold it here, I can squat with it, come down, I can come up. I can squat with it on my shoulders like that. It's more of a core exercise. I can press it. I can do core exercises like a windmill.
Oh, wow.
Worth it. You can swing it overhead like that. So it's nice.
The luggage walk?
The luggage walk, the suitcase carry.
The suitcase carry, that's what it is. This one's really good for me because I have uneven muscle tone in my back. So you can actually see when I'm walking how it's affecting my structure of my back and my balance. I walk crooked, and that was really helpful for me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that you can do with kettlebells.
Anything.
And you don't just have kettlebells, you have straps, TRX, which looks like some strappy thing, but is phenomenal for strength training. And this was the, see, this looks so complicated, but at the gym, Devin and I worked together on the TRX straps, and it really was amazing that I was so much stronger than I thought I was. So I was doing push-ups with the TRX straps, and I don't do push-ups.
Yeah.
But it really increased my confidence in exercising that I could do it if I needed to or wanted to. I'll get there.
Oh yeah.
I promise.
Anybody can do TRX on day one because it's scalable to any fitness level.
Yeah, that was really cool. Well, we've given you a taste of what Devin can show you at Optimized Fitness and Performance and the different tools that you can use. Now the next step for anyone is to get to a gym, work with these tools, and realize it's not as intimidating as you might think, and you can be a stronger person, and the best time to start is
right now, today.
Right now. So thank you for joining us on Shop Franklin, supporting small business. Now get out and shop Franklin.
This program was made possible by your Franklin friends and neighbors, good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.